Welcome, boils, ghouls, and end beasts, to the Scream Signal podcast, the podcast where they never found his body, but they say his spirit lives in the podcast. This podcast, a thing no longer human. They say he feasts on whoever listens, eats them raw, alive, maybe. I'm Jeremy, and I'm your host this week, and I'm here with
Jeff
and George.
And this week on the Scream Signal podcast, we're going to be covering the first half of the year and our favorite movies so far. But we'll kick it off with what we've been watching in the last week. So, Jeff, what have you been watching?
Well, I guess really I kind of wanted to keep it short tonight so we can make sure we got to our lists and things we're looking forward to. So I'm just going to mention one thing that I got into because I think I mentioned this last week. June is a month that I tend to revisit, or I tend to visit a lot of exploitation films, doing a movie challenge. And one of the movies I had to get to, or I decided to get to this year, was from the 90s. It was for the 90s horror category of the film challenge I'm doing. But it's called The Invisible Maniac. It came out in 1990, directed by Adam Rifkin, who I think a lot of people might know as one of the guys who did Chillerama. This one stars Peter Noel Duhamel, Melissa Moore, Savannah, the adult film star, Deborah Lamb, and Stephanie Blake. And the movie is it's about a guy, a scientist who kind of grew up sort of like as like a pervert or a little repressed because his mom's overbearing and everything. But he develops a serum that turns things invisible, and he tries to use it in front of all of these scientists who it doesn't work. So the scientists like laugh at him, and he freaks out and kills a bunch of them and goes to prison. But then years later, he escapes and he perfects his serum, actually being able to become like the Invisible Man. And he's posing as this like teacher in like a high school, I guess, for some money while he's on the run. And what's really interesting about this movie is that I would say the first 3/4 of it are going to feel very familiar to a lot of people as a like silly softcore like teen sex comedy type thing you would see on like USA Up All Night. And I mean, it plays bit for bit, you know, like all the sexy women like showering and like playing sports and hooking up their boyfriends and really goofy like toilet humor kind of stuff. And what's really crazy is at about the 3/4 mark, the last quarter of the movie, this turns into a brutal slasher movie. Yes. I mean, it's so crazy how it kicks into high gear, like out of nowhere. And I mean, like super gory, super mean. And like one of the things I remember is he's like, there's a guy eating a sandwich and he kind of like shoves, as an Invisible Man, he comes up and shoves the sandwich down this guy's throat so he can't like breathe until his throat like is basically like bulging and explodes. Man, and the ending of this is something you just have to fucking see to believe it. Like you just would never expect, you would never expect the ending of this movie for something like this. And it's just so wild because it really does feel like two different films. But I ended up really liking it, especially if you kind of have to be able to be okay with both of those things. You have to sort of like the teen sex comedy, like with like nudity and a little like softcore sex. And you have to be okay with like brutal slashers. It's both of those things. But yeah, actually pretty cool little find, I think. So
yeah, this is one I picked up a couple of years ago when Vinegar Syndrome put it out. It always made the rounds in the like VHS collector groups as being a hard to find VHS tape. And then Vinegar Syndrome was like, fuck it, here's a 4K or maybe a Blu-ray is what it came out on. I love this movie. It is super fun, and I did not think I was going to like it when I watched it for the reasons that Jeff was saying. Like, watching it, I'm like, oh, I get it. It's a teacher that wants to spy on girls naked in the school. Like, I've seen this comedy before. No way. That ending is brutal. Absolutely insane.
I haven't seen this one. If there's a Vinegar Syndrome copy, though, I might have to see if they still sell it, and if they do, I can add it to my sale order that they may one day supposedly ship.
Yeah, mine just shipped yesterday, actually. My sale order from weeks ago. But yeah, it is well worth it, Jeremy, and I think you'll really enjoy this one. Yeah, go into it with an open mind. It's a lot of fun. It's
I'll check this out.
I feel like Rifkin also kind of continued that kind of mix of comedy and brutal horror with like Psycho Cop Returns. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah.
Adam Rifkin too. Yeah, and that one's a super fun one too. So yeah, I'm a big Rifkin fan.
That one's really cool because I remember watching Psycho Cop, the first one. I thought it was very okay.
Yeah.
But Psycho Cop 2 is like what I always want when they crank something to fucking 11 and it's just nuts.
Yeah, it goes insane. It's like a party movie. It's just it's crazy. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. So what you been watching, George?
I've been watching a few things, nothing really that kind of blew me away. There was one that I did very much enjoy. It was a horror comedy called Eldritch USA. I had watched another movie, I think it was on Fossum or Tubi, and that movie ended, and this one is the one that the service had recommended that I give a try. And it is a musical horror comedy about two brothers. One is a news reporter. The other one is kind of the cameraman for his little news pieces. The reporter himself is a douche. Like everybody in the town loves him, but he's a womanizer. He's very misogynistic. He's very mean to his brother. And the brother gets a lead one day. The cameraman does about we'll say a commune outside of town that claims that they can bring people back to life. So somebody dies in the movie. I won't give away too many spoilers, but they bring them back via this weird redneck cult out in the woods, and things get very, very strange. It was actually a lot of fun. There's a ton of laughs in it. Horror comedy can be super hit or miss, but when it's on point, it's pretty good. And this one's pretty good. A lot of belly laughs in it, so that's one that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something a little bit lighter, and even I would say good for maybe even early teens. It has a very much a PG-13 kind of attitude to it. Nothing too gory, risque, anything like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen this one either, so I'll have to check this out at some point.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun.
As for myself, the Day of the Dead 4K released this week, finally. So if you're listening to this, it kind of dates when this was. I picked it up and I watched it last night, actually. And the 4K transfer of this is just fantastic. And it's a lovely movie anyway. It's one of my favorites of all time. And the release is great. It's got so many special features. It has a whole documentary on another disc that I'm really looking forward to watching. But overall, it's the movie you know and love and the best quality it's ever been. So I highly recommend this one if you're a fan of the Romero of the Dead movies. Great release from Scream Factory, and Scream Factory is a company that has been desperately needing a good release for a while now. So it's good to see them with something that's such a good package coming out in the horror genre again. Other than that, I watched a movie called Cat Sick Blues. This was another Vinegar Syndrome partner release. And this movie, it falls into the category of extreme horror for sure. And not, I wouldn't even say it's a scary movie, but it definitely falls into the extreme category. I really liked it. It's a lot of fun. There's a huge trigger warning for animal death in this if you love cats. That's in here. This is the story of a man whose cat dies and he's grieving over it, and he grieves in the worst way possible. And he decides that if he dresses like a cat and goes and kills 9 people, then he can bring his cat back to life. So that's the story here. And when I say extreme, I mean it is extreme. There are scenes here that if your loved ones walk in, you will not be able to explain to them. My wife walked in on a scene where all she saw on the TV was a man standing, looking at himself in the mirror, completely naked, wearing cat claws and a strap-on cat penis. Like there's no defense for that. There's no way to explain it to somebody. But if you to give you what kind of movie this is, that everything mentioned in that scene gets used in the movie. So you know where you're going here. It's dark. It's disgusting. It's a movie you wouldn't want to show your friends, probably, unless your friends are as messed up as you are. But I did like it and I recommend it. So check out Cat Sick Blues if you're into, I guess, some of the weirdest horror you've ever seen.
I do love that they cast somebody whose real name is Cat Commander.
Yeah.
Seems right. Seems right.
Born for that part.
Yeah, I mean, when you have that name, what else can you do?
Sure.
This is one where even I think the slipcase that Vinegar Syndrome sends out, I think you wouldn't want somebody to pick up off your shelf. My wife was in the room and she just looked at me, pick up the case, and shook her head. No, absolutely not. Because the back of this case is a man sitting on a toilet with the genitalia exposed and cat mask on and everything. So, other than that movie, the one we've all watched this week and that we're going to be talking about, and if you're a fan of this movie, you probably recognize the reference in the intro here, and that is The Burning. George, what were your thoughts on The Burning?
Dude, I love The Burning. It is one that I've always liked ever since seeing it on VHS back in the day as a teenager, obviously cut. Then, luckily now, we get to see the uncut version. Yeah, The Burning is fun, but I know we all had a discussion about this offline, but in a really mean way. I think Jeff was the first one to point that out as he was watching it. Yeah, it doesn't follow the slasher rules of the time, where it's like, hey, if you have sex, you're gonna die. Nope. In this one, a lot of the female characters are the males try to persuade them into sex, and a lot of times they say no, but still end up getting killed off, which I thought was interesting. But no, I really like The Burning. It's a lot of fun, moves at a quick pace. I don't feel like there's like any middle slowdown to it like there is with a lot of the slashers of the era.
Yeah, it's a brief 91 minutes, so it moves fast.
It moves super fast. So, I mean, you get to those highlights pretty quick. And when I say highlights, I know we're going to talk about the canoe scene.
Oh,
but, yeah. What about you guys?
Well,
go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, well, I was going to say, so couple of things to preface this before we get too far is that one of the things we decided to do with the summer, we've been blessed at the beginning of this year with a lot of new horror movies coming out, so we had a lot of stuff to talk about. But it's going to slow down a bit in the summer, and so we thought it'd be kind of nice to visit some movies that were like summer themed that we could talk to you guys about, some of the older stuff, maybe some things some of you, unless you're like just crazy diehard horror fans like us, might have missed out on. And this one, The Burning, is a slasher movie from 1981, directed by Tony Maylam. It stars Brian Matthews, Leah Ayres, Brian Backer, Larry Joshua, Jason Alexander from Seinfeld fame, and Fisher Stevens, who that's the guy from Short Circuit, right? And questionable, but yeah, he was in Short. And then Lou David plays Cropsey. And so one of the things about The Burning, it's a slasher movie about a janitor at a summer camp who is badly burned in an accident, like a prank gone wrong, and he returns to get revenge on the people who did this to him. It's sort of loosely based on an urban legend, which sort of became a real slasher, real serial killer story from the 70s and 80s, the Cropsey legend from Staten Island in that area. There's a really cool documentary called Cropsey that talks about this. If anybody's like really interested in getting deep dives, we're not going to get deep on that.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of people know that documentary better than they know The Burning, because that documentary I know has been pretty popular with a lot of the YouTube crowd. If you're younger, and you're into horror and real true crime YouTubers, that documentary is really popular. So you probably are familiar with that more than this movie.
Sure. The Burning's interesting for me. I grew up on slasher movies. One of the things that I've always loved about slashers is that slashers are violent and they deal with a lot of like dark subject matter, but for the most part, most of them are kind of fun. Like they have a very like playful like nature about them. A lot of times there's like jokes and like wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of things going on. Obviously with stuff like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, all the big ones. But The Burning is one of the few that I think stands out as really, like, there are some moments of levity, but they're not levity at itself. They're sort of levity between characters that I don't think really lets the pressure off from the movie so much. So the movie is it is a very mean-spirited slasher. It's not one where I don't think you're really rooting. You're definitely not rooting for the killer, I don't think, but you're also not. I don't know. Like there aren't a lot of good characters in this. There's a few, There's a few of the I think maybe Jason Alexander's character is fine. He just seems to be kind of like a nerd that's helping other nerds, get their nerd comeuppance or something. But yeah, there's just, I remember watching this and thinking, man, one of the main guys you follow is kind of like a sex pest, and I shouldn't even say kind of, just is.
Just is.
He
Yeah.
definitely is. Yeah.
And it's like he's such a scumbag. And then, you've got the killer who's such a terrible person. There are characters in this that aren't bad. I don't want to make it out like everybody's bad, but I feel like you spend a lot of time with people, and it's kind of grim. And so the violence in this movie, I think, probably because Tom Savini, who did the special effects, notoriously was in Vietnam and saw a lot of brutal stuff, and kind of brought his realistic take on that kind of thing with him when he did the effects. And I think that really stands out here. Some of the stuff feels like if you didn't know it was a movie, you might buy it, as real.
Yeah, it's very brutal. The special effects here are gnarly.
Yeah, and I will say, so that all this is not necessarily a negative. It's just The Burning is one of those types of movies, because it is so dark and violent in what I would just call a more real way. It's not. It loses the fun factor for me, and then it becomes a little more I can watch this movie maybe once a decade or so, and then I'm good for a while. Now that being said, Cropsey looks awesome. The look for the killer is really cool. I think the fact that he's got the garden shears is kind of an iconic weapon. Also really neat. You don't see that in a lot of old slasher movies, at least not as a main weapon. I guess we saw it in Friday the 13th Part 5. Jason used some, but that's sort of what he uses in this. I mean, everything from stabbings to throat slashings to cutting things off. You just see all of that stuff. And at the very end, you get a reveal of how bad his face looks after this burn. That's something else I did want to talk about, is the situation, the inciting incident, where these kids are playing this joke on this janitor. They never really explain it. They never really get into, I don't think, get into details, but it looks like the kids put a rotten skull in this guy.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah, in his house, and it's got candles.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, is it supposed to be a Halloween prop, or is it just straight up we dug up some corpse's head and put it in here? Because it's
covered in worms and stuff.
Yeah,
It
seems like they just dug it up.
And so the question is, what the fuck is that about? That's
exactly. I always remember it being a candle, a skull that's made into a candle, a decorative thing. No way, it's a rotting human skull in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that, just looking at that, going, "What the fuck?" And then like George said, so I think the one thing that's probably one of the things that holds this movie back from being what I would call great is that the kills are all kind of, while they're very brutal, they're all kind of samey. You do sort of see hey, a person, they get stabbed. Hey, a person, they get stabbed. But there is one scene in this movie that I think is probably the scene that everybody who watches this movie
it's the scene from the movie.
Comes away from. And it's these kids are trying to get back to camp on this raft, and there's probably five of them or so on this raft.
Yeah.
And they're just paddling along, and they see a canoe in the distance, and they're okay, well, it's one of our canoes, let's get over to that canoe and see if we can grab it. And as they pull up to it, Cropsey just bursts from this fucking canoe and takes all 5 of them out, and immediately just executes the shit out of 5 people in a 2-minute scene. And it's nuts. It is just the kind of thing you would never expect, because in most of these movies you have a single person who is off by themselves and the killer gets them, but this is 5 people all at once on a fucking raft get murdered by this guy, and it's fucking brutal. So all that's really crazy. And I think the ending, the kind of the showdown with the flamethrower and everything is really, really cool. So it's awesome. I didn't going into this, the first time I saw The Burning, I didn't love it, and I guess I just sort of equated it to one of those that people talk about a lot because there's some memorable stuff in it, but I didn't really like it. And I think this time around I do like it, but I do stand on this is a very mean and dark slasher that doesn't fall into the same vein as most of the fun 80s ones.
I was the same way. I think this is this might be one that you and I rented in high school.
Probably.
And I think Because I remember this and Madman both stood out to me as ones that we heard a lot of people talk about
Yeah.
when rented. I don't think we loved either of them the first time we watched them. I revisited this a few years ago and really loved it. Ended up I picked up the 4K from Scream Factory of this, and the 4K is great. I will say and maybe I don't know if this stood out on y'all's copies, if you were watching it in 4K or what, but on the 4K, the initial burning scene, it is pretty obvious he's wearing a crash helmet. You can definitely see it.
You can tell, yeah.
Yeah. So that stood out. It doesn't ruin the movie. It's special effects. We all know how it works. So that doesn't hurt the movie at all to me.
No.
But I love this movie as someone that loves the Clock Tower video games, and Phenomena is one of my favorite movies ever. I like movies where people use scissors and kill people. So scissors, garden shields, whatever. Apparently I'm into that. So I like this movie a lot. I think it's really good. The raft scene is ridiculously brutal and it will stick with you. There's no way you can forget the Raft Massacre once you watch it.
No.
And like you said, the Cropsey makeup looks so cool. It's such a cool looking villain. It's shocking this character didn't go on to be in more movies. Sorry if everybody hears sirens. I live in a city. So yeah, I like this movie a lot. Exactly.
There was something that had just come up. Oh, I was just thinking. I'd forgotten another thing that makes this movie just stand out. One of the other characters that you follow for most of the movie, who ends up being kind of one of the main character types, is like a pervert who's like spying on women in the shower.
Yeah,
and being
that's
weird.
what I was thinking about. The Alpha kid.
That.
Yeah, and I remember that being like, really, like, because they'll do that in some other movies, but usually it's a little less like scummy as it was in this one. And then the other big thing, I can't believe we forgot to mention this. And this is spoilers, which I mean, again, this is an older movie, so if you guys don't want to get spoiled, don't stop listening for the next like 30 seconds to a minute. But
yeah, I mean,
Todd,
4 or 5 years on.
Todd, the main character of this, is the guy I guess you're supposed to think of as like the heroic lead, is one of the kids who burned Cropsey. And the craziest part of that is that he tells the kids when they're all on this island camping, he's telling them the story of Cropsey as if it was like a legend he had heard. When that motherfucker did that shit.
Yeah, when he's the one that burned the dude, or one of them.
And he's like slandering Cropsey too, talking about how he was a piece of shit, abusive and stuff.
Right.
Oh, he was so mean, he carried around knives all the time. Like, dude, you set him on fire and put him in a hospital for his whole life.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's definitely some crazy shit.
Now, I will say, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was going to say that guy that plays Todd ran for Congress in 2012, apparently.
Oh, wow.
No, that's crazy.
In Texas.
I was going to say, I love the end of the movie where you see Cropsey kind of like stalking around this old factory or old mine with the flamethrower. As Todd realizes or remembers, oh shit, I'm the one that set him on fire. Like, he didn't remember that at any point before.
Right.
But it's really well set up as it like cuts between the flamethrower. You're not quite seeing Cropsey's face yet, to Todd remembering everything. The cuts were super well done at the end.
Imagine picking up a flamethrower and magically remembering, like, oh shit, I set a guy on fire when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I forgot it. When I was like 15, I set this dude on fire. Shit. No wonder he's killing us.
That's crazy.
And something I did want to mention, if you guys end up liking The Burning, there's another film that I would recommend because I think it falls into the same sort of vein. And actually, now that I think about it, it might be a good summer movie too. I'd have to go back and revisit exactly when the movie is supposed to be taking place. But that would be The Prowler from 1981 also.
Oh, yeah.
Another Savini movie.
It's another Savini effects-driven movie.
Yep. And it's kind of darker like this one.
Yeah, it's another mean-spirited slasher that's not really what I would call a fun one, but has a lot. The one thing I can give The Prowler over The Burning is I think The Prowler has more creative kills and things in it. So it's another one of those that, if you want to watch one for different. And it has a unique killer look, kind of this weird shadowy, like army man.
I think The Prowler's a little more famous too for being like one of those video nasties, I believe, that was like really like propped up by the British Film Commission is burning it.
But
really,
so was The Burning, right?
Oh, was The Burning one also that was?
Yeah, The Burning I think was one of the first ones. I think. Yeah,
I know The Prowler and Driller Killer are two of the ones that are usually like seen the most in documentaries and stuff. So I think The Prowler's probably better known than The Burning, I would think.
Yeah. But
Both
yeah, if
great
you
movies.
guys,
I like both a lot.
oh yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, just the upcoming episodes, no matter what the subject matter of the episode will be, we will be visiting for the next few months other summer related horror movies. So stuff you can put on your playlist if you're trying to get those vibes.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I just to shout out the physical media on that as well. I think Blue Underground might have put out the Prowler in a really good release. I'm not sure if they have a 4K or just a Blu-ray of that, but they have a really good release of that. I'm pretty sure from Blue Underground.
Yeah, I think Bill Lustig directed it, didn't he? And he owns Blue Underground.
Yeah, he did. And,
so yep.
Yeah, and that's
so
his company.
I'm pretty
so
sure I put it up.
Yeah, actually, Joseph Zito directed the Prowler.
Oh, that's right. It was Zito.
Yeah, but I know it's under Blue Underground's label, which a lot of stuff is because a lot of people in horror just trust Lustig to treat their films right. If you're looking for this one, I think Blue Underground has a really good release of it.
Nice.
All right, so that's it for the Prowler, and I mean for the Burning, and the Prowler, both. So this week we're going to go over our top 5 of the year so far. And we'll be starting with number 5. We'll go around in a kind of roundtable format and list ours out, and we'll discuss them as they go. If somebody lists a movie and another one of us has it higher on their list, they can just go ahead and shout that out, and we'll hold discussion of that movie until we get to that person's point on the list. So, Jeff, what's your number 5?
Okay, so my number 5 is Touch Me. I think this one might be one... where's it at on your list?
It's on number 4 for me.
Okay. So we'll hold. All right. What do you got for number 5 there, George?
I have Primate, which is one that I skipped at the theater. It just didn't seem like it would be that good. And Jeff, you were actually the one that was like, "Hey, have you seen Primate? You need to watch it." And I had a absolute blast with it. It's super fun, monkey gone wild, killer animal flick.
Yeah. Yeah, Primate's great. It was really cool. I think when I heard that they were doing Primate, I was like, well, the whole reason they're doing this is because of that scene in Nope.
That was exactly what I thought as well. That scene had to have inspired this movie to get made.
Yeah, and what's so crazy about that is obviously that is inspired by a real life incident where a lady who owned a chimpanzee was brutally attacked by the chimpanzee. And the scene in Nope is, if people haven't seen it, is devastating. It's probably, in my opinion, the best part of Nope. I think Nope's a cool movie.
I agree.
But that
it was the part that stuck with me the most of that movie for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
But with Primate, what was so cool to me was I didn't really know what to expect going into it, but it is a very old school feeling movie. Like it almost feels like a slasher movie with a monkey.
That's exactly it.
And the music has Halloween, like John Carpenter vibes, which is really fucking cool. And I love that the monkey is done in like mostly practical effects. I think something about that, while it doesn't look what I would call like, I'm doing the air quotes, realistic, I think it's very stylized and cool, and it makes it like scarier.
That is one of the big things that I loved, is that they did not go CGI with the creature at all. They went practical effects. Like you said, it doesn't look as realistic, but it looks better in a film, in my opinion, than as kind of like a soulless CGI primate running around.
I was surprised by practical effects pulled off really well.
Yeah. And a lot of the kills are practical. It's brutal. There's one scene with a chin ripping in this movie, or jaw ripping. Oh yeah, never gonna forget that. Absolutely incredible.
I also love the Halloween vibes when the monkey coming after the person in the closet. It's like
in the closet,
just straight lifted that from Halloween.
100%.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool, and this was wasn't that it's the guy that did like the 42 meters down or whatever, right? Like
the shark movies.
Yeah, what's that? I need to look. Yeah, Johannes
Roberts.
Yeah, he's done some really cool stuff. I actually always think when I see
he did that Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie a while back. And I think he did one of the segments in VHS 99 as well, if I remember.
And the thing that I love,
Strangers Pray at Night.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
he did do Pray at Night
that he did, because I love Pray at Night. I think
that pool scene in that movie is legendary. So,
it's great.
So good.
Pray at Night would be a good summer movie. We should talk
Oh
about
yeah, that would be a perfect summer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. So yeah, good director for sure. He's done a lot of good stuff. I know Welcome to Raccoon City is one of the Resident Evil movies that people that are like not upset that the characters are slightly changed
Sure.
from their video games
Yeah.
like more than the others. So
Primate number 5 for George.
yeah, and
Okay.
my number 5 here is The Mummy, which this was Lee Cronin's release this year. This movie, I went into it and kind of expecting almost from the trailers that it was going to be more Evil Dead Rise, because that's kind of what it looked like from the trailers.
Yes.
And it was that largely to some extent. It did feel a lot like Evil Dead Rise. The style is the exact same here.
Yeah.
As a parent, there were parts at the beginning of it that I did find to be kind of devastating and terrifying, that I related to these characters and felt like, God, this would be such a horrifying, terrible situation. And that did resonate with me more than it might some people. And I thought this movie was great. I thought it took a swing to being something completely different from what other mummy movies have been. You know, a lot of people now, I think, especially people in their 30s to 40s now, when they hear The Mummy, they immediately think of Brendan Fraser adventure movie, good fun time. That's like most people's Mummy definition now. And this is 100% the polar opposite of that. They ran ran completely different direction with this movie. It's gross. It's sad at parts. It's, it's stressful. I wouldn't say that at very few points in this was I like, man, I'm having a fun time watching this like you would the other Mummy movies. So it was so different. And I think a lot of audience probably didn't go in expecting that, because I do think it was kind of marketed poorly as well. But I really enjoyed this movie a lot. And I think that if somebody gave it a chance with an open mind and like just sat aside the Mummy title and the entire tie to the previous entries in this franchise and just think of it as its own complete thing, I think you'll really enjoy this and view it for what it is. You'll have a great time and think it's a good movie at the end.
The Mummy is one of the only movies this year that has made me squirm.
Oh yeah.
Made me just go, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that toenail.
That's the exact scene I'm thinking of. That got me. That was actually, my wife was like, we need to pause this. I need a breather after that scene.
I can see that. It is intense at moments.
Oh, super intense. Yeah.
I would say it's more intense than Evil Dead Rise. So if you watched Evil Dead Rise, it's that dialed up more.
Yeah. It definitely.
Yeah.
He knows how to do that. I think what's interesting about this is one of those cases where I saw the trailer and I was very baffled. I was baffled because I think so. One of the things that does come up a lot with this movie is people mention the Brendan Fraser, or late 90s, early Mummy series, and that is sort of like a spiritual successor to the classic Universal Mummy.
Yeah, I think it's impossible not to bring that up when the studio's already said, like, I think it hurts this movie in some ways when the studio's already said we're making the Mummies with Brendan Fraser again. They've already said like this is done. This is a dead end movie to some extent.
Right.
The studio's told you that.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would say this is a dead end movie because this is not connected to any of that. So what's
it's not at all.
Yeah, this is actually part of the series that Blumhouse has been doing that are sort of re-envisionings of the classic movies, like they did Lee Winnell's The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Which was very, very good. It was like, incredible, in fact.
Super good, yeah.
And then they did Lee Winnell's Wolfman, which was okay. It was it was fine. It was fine. Like I think the problem I went into that with too high expectation because Lee Winnell had been ballparking movies at that point. And that one was just kind of like okay, I guess. But this one fits into that where it's like, hey, somebody do some unique new stuff with this idea. And I think that was smart of them to put Lee Cronin's name. And that's probably why they did that.
It was
so be able to
differentiate
from the Universal Mummy stuff.
I think when I say this is a dead end is that once that Brendan Fraser stuff gets its marketing stuff ramped up, the Mummy, the name can't be. It's going to be nothing else can really do anything with it at that point because it's going to get drowned out.
You're
so
right,
this is a one and done for sure, 100%, and it works as that too, though.
You're right. But I remember when the trailer for this was running, I was like, this is going to be one of those. I'm going to try to stop saying like Blumhouse because I don't want to crap on Blumhouse. They've done some cool stuff.
Made some great stuff.
It was
Yeah.
one of those. It was one of those like it's kind of high budget. You've seen this a million times, like jump scares, like twitchy, just the stuff you've seen a million times. And like I was
Yeah, like I
seeing
said, it
that,
looks like Evil Dead Rise. Looks like the same movie in the
yeah, and
trailers.
I was
Yeah.
kind of watching it, going, what is this? But I was intrigued because I was also like, well, what is this? And like I think that's unusual. Like normally you kind of know what to expect from stuff, and this I didn't know what to expect. And so I think it did nothing but surprise me in the best ways. And I knew I was in for something special watching this one when we see that scene of the like pyramid in the basement. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is
What
this?
the hell's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, this is cool. I like this visual. Like, where is this going? And so it is 100%. You're right. It is an Evil Dead movie with some mummy trappings.
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome, and I really do hope that. I think this is one that 6-7 years from now, people are going to come back to with no expectation. They're just going to go, "Man, this is a banger." But
Yeah, this
just-
feels like a cult classic in the making for sure.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. I think
Once-
that, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say once it hits streaming, it's gonna find an audience real quick.
Oh yeah.
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 I think this made me super excited for anything Lee Cronin does next because
Yes.
I've liked both of his
Yeah.
last movies a lot.
Yeah.
I'm definitely anywhere he goes, I'm going to be there to follow and watch and see what he's got in store.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
come around on Lee Cronin between The Mummy and Evil Dead Rise. I did
Same,
not
'cause
like
I don't think I
Hole in the
loved
Ground.
The Hole in the Ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either. And I was like, wow, this is the guy doing Evil Dead? This is going to be boring. Nope.
I remember
He's
liking
very
Hole in the Ground, but I was also like on the like this bender at the time of just like I need to find all the cool Irish horror movies. Like Ireland's been
Oh, yeah.
killing it.
They are
They
fucking
have
killing it because of their tax breaks that they've given to movies have like made them the new Canada of the 80s.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's a good parallel. But yeah, The Mummy, awesome.
Yeah, great movie. So, Jeff, what's your number 4? Well, I guess we can actually go to George's number 4 because we know what it is, and
Yeah,
we're
we
just
go
holding
to
off on discussing it.
Yeah.
Yep. So my number 4, Jeff's number 5, Touch Me, which is another Jeff recommendation. I was not aware of this one until Jeff actually mentioned on one of our episodes previously, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly where I heard about it. I think I had heard it mentioned a couple of times on Cobweb's channel with Daniel on YouTube, which is
Mhm.
great. And then I think I also heard it on Colors of the Dark with Rebecca McKendry and Elric Kane. And all I heard at the time, the only things that really stuck with me is they were mentioning kind of the plot, which is this lady and her roommate get drawn into this sort of like cultish, attractive alien guy, or a guy who's claiming he's an alien, like can touch them, make them feel really good, who's claiming he's an alien trying to save the world with these like trees, but maybe he's up to more than it seems. And this is one of the ones where I don't really want to spoil a lot,
Yeah.
but it is very much a horror drama comedy hentai. I don't know. There's definitely
I hadn't
There's
watched
some
it, but now I'm interested. You have my
Well,
attention.
Yurosuke Doji.
Wow. Legend of the
Yeah.
Overfiend reference?
Yeah, yes, sir. You know it. Maybe not that explicit, but yes.
Take that just got a 4K release also.
Oh, really? That would be
Yeah.
very interesting to see in 4K. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think the director here for Touch Me is Addison Hyman, and it's starring Olivia Taylor Dudley, who was in The Magicians, but she was also in Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Lost Souls, and also has Lou Taylor Pucci, who was in Spring and the Evil Dead remake. And
Lou Taylor. Oh, I was gonna say Lou Taylor Pucci. He kills it here, and he's one of
Yes.
those actors that is like completely unrecognizable in every single movie. He looks like a different person in every single role he plays.
you're right, because I remember them talking about him being in the Evil Dead remake, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's like
Yeah, he was the
long
glasses
hair,
dude,
like,
right?
glasses guy. But then
Yeah.
I was like, Spring, he's the lead guy in Spring, and I had to like go back and look at that and go, oh yeah, I guess he was. He just looked completely different in that. And
Yep,
Spring
and he
is
looked
like,
completely different in Touch Me. Spring's a great movie.
Spring is so good. Which I mean, again, if it's an Aaron or Benson Moorhead movie,
Benson Moorhead.
it's probably
they're-
going to be
they're-
worth watching.
they always
But
make
yeah,
them.
Lou Taylor Pucci is, and then this is probably the most like specific character he's ever done. It's
I
very
would say it's probably his most comedic too. He has some really good comedic timing in this one.
yeah. The whole like little like I got to do my like morning
I gotta
meditative
dance.
off thing is like ridiculous. But yeah, so this is one I think it's going to be weird because this is one of those ones that's hard to recommend to people because it's such a unique tone. Like it's a very unique tone, and it also deals with things like you have to really be into like hypersexual stuff. You have to be kind of and you have to be on board with the vibe of like it's a little silly, but it's also got a little bit of drama. Man, like there's some scenes like I mean they're legitimately seeing this where Olivia Taylor Dudley's being like elevated off the ground by like alien tentacles that are pleasuring her sexually, and then people getting like exploded and ripped apart, and I mean like just very catty interactions with people across the dinner table. There's just a lot of really weird stuff, and I think you just kind of have to let this movie take you on its vibe, and you have to vibe with it. It's unique, but I think that's why it rose so high on my list. It was just one of those where I loved everything about it, and I was just so happy to see something this weird and unique.
And I was sold on it in like the first 5 minutes. The first 5-10 minutes are like a super long monologue with the lead actress and an extremely slow zoom in on her as she's like giving all of this background about, hey, I met this alien. We had sex. I lived with him for a while. Like she goes through this whole background that sets up everything for what's going to happen in the movie. And it is so perfect. And it's funny and it's weird. And I was on board immediately.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's very good. And like another thing just to add in there for anybody is if you're an Olivia Taylor Dudley fan, and you probably will be after this movie if you want.
Yes.
You're going to see her naked. So that's a selling point. Very, 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 very good times. Very good times.
Absolutely.
I'll be checking this one out now for sure.
Yeah, you should.
I think you'll like it a lot, Jeremy.
It sounds great. Even outside of that, it sounds like a good movie. I need to put this on my list for sure. Yeah. And just so everybody knows, just as a disclaimer here, if you're screaming at your like phone right now going, how are these stupid bastards not mentioning blah, blah, blah movie that I love? We haven't seen everything this year. It's still early. We will try to make, if there's something that you think we've totally missed from our list and we're crazy, post it in the comments, send it to our Instagrams. We'll try to watch it before we revise these lists at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as for my number 4, it is Exit 8. This is a movie that actually came out in Japan in 2025. Didn't see a U.S. release until 2026. I know some people might say, yes, there were fan translations available on the internet before it hit America legally. I didn't watch it until it came out here in theaters. So Exit 8 is my number 4. I think this movie was fantastic. If you've played the game, then you know the basic premise here. This is a person in a subway station who is in a looping hallway, basically trying to get to exit 8 of this subway. Every time he walks through this hallway, he has to look for anomalies, something that is changed. And if he spots an anomaly, he has to turn around and go back, and then he will get to the next layer. If he doesn't spot an anomaly and he misses it, he starts back over at exit 0 and has to go back through 8 times. He has to successfully navigate this thing 8 times, determining whether there are anomalous elements of this hallway or if there are not, and go from there. It's a very weird film. It's beautifully shot, I'd say. There are first person segments of it at the beginning that are like very liminal if you're into that. I guess the whole movie is pretty liminal actually, because you're in this very mostly empty subway hallway. There's one other person walking through it every time. And initially, every time he goes through it, there's a man walking with a briefcase towards him that passes through the hallway, and he has to navigate that. Whether this man is, in this instance, going to behave normally or if he's going to behave anomalously. And then from there, it proceeds to ramp up. As the layers get deeper, it seems to get worse and worse. The anomalous activity gets more kind of like weird as he goes on. And it's a very interesting movie. I would say that there's been some talk around this. I've seen some people say this movie feels pro-life to them, which I didn't pick up from it. I think this movie feels more about a man accepting his responsibilities and like taking responsibility as a father and accepting that he's going to have to step up to this task and grow up and do that. That's a big plot point in this movie. And I think that a lot of people watching it aren't interpreting this from the perspective. They're looking at it from a very American perspective and saying, "Oh, this movie seems very pro-life." When it's like, no, this movie seems like a Japanese movie where Japan does have an issue where there definitely is media there pushing the idea of parenthood because of their low birth rate. That's 100% a fact that exists there, and this movie probably does participate in that in some ways. But the movie itself is very good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say I played the game Exit 8, but I have not watched the movie yet. It's on my short list of what to watch next. So I'm hoping to get to that one actually this week. It looks great.
So the movie's
super fun.
This movie starts out with his girlfriend like calling him and telling him that she's pregnant and that she's going to the hospital, and then from there that's how the movie starts. So then this whole thing starts from there, and it does have a lot of themes about that. There's some weird scenes in it. There's some scenes with some like monster things, I guess, that look freaky and legitimately may go, "Oh, what the fuck?" when I saw them on the screen. It's a cool movie. I highly recommend it. I loved it. I think it's one of the better video game movies ever made, because it's one of the only video game movies I've ever seen that feels like it's doing something interesting where most of them don't, honestly. So Exit 8 is my number 4. I don't know if either of you have seen it.
I haven't seen this one yet. It's been on my list. I saw the trailer for it. Thought it looked kind of interesting, but yeah, I haven't gotten around.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. So that's my number 4. Jeff, what's your number 4?
Okay, so my number 4 is actually The Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal directed it. Stars Jessie Buckley, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Peter Sarsgaard. This one, I remember being really, really excited when this got announced because the cast was so cool. I like Maggie Gyllenhaal, so I thought it'd be cool to see something that she directed. I'm a big fan of, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, all that. And it just looked so punk rock, like all the trailers and everything about it. And so I thought I was kind of going to get this kind of Bonnie and Clyde punk rock, Bride of Frankenstein movie. And it is that. It is that. But when it came out, it got trashed by a lot of people. A lot of critics and a lot of reviews I saw were very mixed. And so I didn't rush out to the theater to see it. I didn't get it until it hit VOD. But I actually really enjoyed this. I think it's a very cool. Every generation will have these movies that I think really speak to like teenagers who have this like rebellious streaks and stuff. And I think this is definitely going to do that, especially for a lot of like young women. I think are going to find this poignant in a lot of ways. Jessie Buckley is on fire in this movie. Like she's playing like 3 different characters all at once, and it's surprising how well she's able to pull that off. And I think she even said that the way she does it is with like slight variations on accent, which I thought was very, very cool. The look is this like kind of 1920s like meets Frankenstein like kind of vibe. It's very, very neat. It's a quasi musical, like it has musical numbers in it, but I wouldn't really call it a musical, directly. The visual style is incredibly striking. There are some elements to this that I think make it not completely gel 100%, and I think that's one of the reasons why people didn't know how to feel about it, because the movie can't really decide if it wants to be a condemnation of a lot of macho stuff, a condemnation of like how women are treated, and then also kind of wants to be this like punk rock love story, but it doesn't really ever commit to any of those. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to have these like different themes going on. I still really enjoyed it, but I think that little mesh there is probably where some people didn't completely connect with it. But man, like I think when it's working, it's really, really working. And Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale are so good together. And actually, surprisingly, Peter Sarsgaard and Penelope Cruz as the cop, I think FBI agents that are after them in this movie, also really, really good and really, really interesting and work well together. So I think it's a very, very cool movie, very underrated. And I think it's another one of those that, 10 years from now, people are going to be like, man, why didn't people like this movie? I think it's going to be one of those.
This definitely feels like the kind of movie that I agree that it's going to be a cult classic. It feels like the kind of movie that's going to be like a Repo the Genetic Opera, where people that love it are going to fucking love it.
Yep, they're going to lose their minds for it. Yeah.
Right.
And people that don't love it are going to wonder why the fuck these people love it.
That's possible.
That's the exact way Repo is, I feel.
Yeah.
And, you know, overall, this movie didn't land 100% for me. There are parts of it I think are great. No one's ever accused Christian Bale of being a bad actor in anything he's ever been in.
No.
So he's fantastic as ever. I think Jesse Buckley was fantastic in it. Even in the parts that I don't like of the story. I did the parts where she's playing as Mary Shelley didn't land for me. But she doesn't do a bad job at it. She does an amazing job at it.
Yeah, I think that is the most the most difficult part of the movie to wrestle with, is trying to kind of reconcile what's going on with that plot.
Yeah. But I think it's definitely one of those movies that's going to be a cult classic, and it's going to be celebrated by a particular audience that it lands very well with.
Yeah.
I think this movie won't go away because, you know, I mean, so many of these movies, every movie that when I'm talking about Repo, or you're talking about Rocky Horror, you're talking about movies that were box office bombs, didn't initially find an audience, did very poorly, and later were beloved by a specific audience. I think this will definitely be one of those that falls in that same category.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I saw this one as well. I really enjoyed it. Super stylized.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, Jessie Buckley just absolutely phenomenal in it. I know she won the Oscar for Hamnet. She should have won the Oscar for The Bride. Or, well, I guess that would have been this upcoming award season.
Yeah.
But yeah, did Maggie Gyllenhaal make anything outside of The Bride? I don't remember if she's directed it.
I think this.
I would have to look and see.
No, this was her directorial debut, I believe.
Okay,
it was
that's
a big
what I
deal
was
because I think it was a huge, I think it was her first directorial feature length, maybe.
Yeah, feature.
Because I think she directed some shorts before, I remember, or maybe not. No, it's not her directorial debut. Never mind, I'm wrong. But this was her first big studio one, and it was a huge budget. I actually think that's a big mistake of this movie. I'm not sure why they spent like $80 million, I think, on a horror movie and then expect it to make that back, because that's just traditionally not what horror movies are making back. It's very rare for a horror movie to make that kind of money in a theater. So I think the studio really did her wrong with this movie.
And I can say, as much as I do like this movie, I don't see that budget.
I don't either. I don't see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know if that's marketing budget. It had a lot of advertisements out for it.
It did, yeah.
Or probably paying people like Christian Bale.
Yeah, that could be it too. Probably actor salaries here are probably blown up, and I think that really did her wrong, because I don't think she did a bad movie.
No,
but I think it's going to hurt her career.
No way
that this didn't make that back, and it never was going to.
A lot of stuff that people would really like in this, and like what George was saying, I'm finding the older I get, the more stuff I watch, I really, really appreciate highly stylized movies, because you just don't see it that often. And it's always such a cool, unique voice when you do. So, I think it's really
cool. So much stuff is extremely safe, and this is not that at all. This is the opposite. Yeah. So it is interesting, at least, and I'd like to see more stuff like this. But unfortunately, when stuff like this has these high budgets and it bombs, it makes studios pull back, and that sucks.
It does.
But The Bride, I would recommend it to people. I'd say check it out. You might be one of the people that really fucking loves this. So I think now we're probably going to get to a lot of overlap moving forward in these top 3 lists. So Jeff, what do you have for your number 3?
I actually think I have one that you guys don't have. So that's kind of cool. I have Redux. This one is Kevin and Matthew McManus directing, starring Michaela McManus, Stella Marcus, and Jeremy Holm. And this one is one I had heard of it mentioned a few times around a couple of places. And the premise is what really drew me in, because the premise is that a woman has created a machine that allows her to go from dimension to dimension, different alternate realities. And what she's doing is her daughter has been murdered by a serial killer, and she goes through these different universes, finding the man who killed her daughter and killing him. And she just does this over and over. And one of the things that she's discovering in this is that she doesn't ever get to save her daughter. Like she doesn't do this, and like there's a world where she runs into her daughter or whatever. Instead, it's just this: she feels like she's on this mission to punish the shit out of this guy like so many times. And on the way through this, she ends up meeting another young who's been in a bad situation, and they end up kind of bonding. And so it's this very like it's kind of like a horror tinged primer, like like that sort of movie. I think that it's very creative and original, and I love while it has sci-fi elements, the sci-fi elements are very what I would call like low tech. Like like the whole thing has a different. You're not gonna be looking at like somebody sitting here with page after page of scientific notes and all these very highly sophisticated devices. She just has this box that they don't ever really explain a whole lot of other than just what it does specifically. And this is a very drama. It's very dark. It's very heavy. But I think everybody in it nails it. Jeremy Holm is like the creepy like serial killer guy. Like he does a really great job. I believe both Michaela McManus and Stella Marcus in their roles in this as the lady who's like obsessed with this situation that's happened to her, and this young girl who's kind of like almost a victim who now is kind of trying to reclaim some of that for herself. I thought it was an incredible movie. When I first saw it, I'd seen all you. There's a couple other things came along that really bumped it up, but this one's kind of neat because it hovers between a lot of different genres.
Yeah, it was hard not to put this one on my list as well. Redux was super fun. Like you were saying, it is an independent movie. It doesn't have a big budget as most science fiction movies would, but it creates this whole universe around the things that are happening that is fantastic. It's one of those things I think we talked about with Coffin Moon, where it like hints at all of these things in this universe where the story is taking place that you just want to know more about.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, exactly. And Jeremy Holm in this is great. He is a great bad guy. I think he was also the Ranger, right? In the Ranger.
Yeah.
A few years back. Yeah. He's a great bad guy. But like you said, it's like a thriller, horror-tinged primer. Pretty much all these different dimensions and a lady who's kind of lost herself on this mission to just annihilate this guy as many times as she possibly can. Until, she kind of has like a change of heart. Well, not really a change of heart, but the girl she meets brings some humanity back to her. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Sounds great. This is one I haven't seen yet, so I'll be checking it out. So, George, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I think, Jeremy, is your number 1, so we may have to wait on that one.
Yep, so we can wait on that one. So my number 3 is also somebody's number 1, so we'll skip it for now.
All right.
Moving on to the number 2s. Jeff, what's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Obsession. Does anybody have that as number 1?
That's my number 1.
Okay, so we'll skip. What you got, Jeremy?
My number 2 is also Obsession, so we're gonna skip it. So,
all right. George, what's your number 2?
Yep, my number 2 is probably somebody's number 1. Let's find out. I've got Hokum as number 2.
Hokum, yeah, that's my number 1. Okay, so
let's
go to. We'll talk about.
Before we do that, actually, let's pause. Does anybody have any honorable mentions they want to bring up real quick without deep discussion?
Ooh.
Anybody honorable mentions for the year of things that you think might be on a top 10 at the end of the year, or somebody should just watch it might end up on their top 10? Anybody got anything?
Hang on just a second here.
I'll go ahead and start by throwing a few out.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll throw out Strange Harvest. This came out in December 2025, so a lot of people probably saw it this year. It was very late last year. I don't think this is this movie isn't amazing, but I think it has some fantastically chilling scenes. It's kind of the Poughkeepsie tapes if it was good. Is how I describe it. So I recommend Strange Harvest. It's my honorable mention for the year so far. Check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah, I got just a couple here. I would say one that just narrowly avoided my list was Over Your Dead Body.
Yep.
This one was Yorma Taccone of the Lonely Island fame,
Love this
and
also.
it starred Samara Weaving and Jason Segel, along with Timothy Olyphant and Juliette Lewis. This one was a remake of a. Am I right when I say is it Dutch?
Sounds right.
Norwegian, I think. The
Was it
Trip.
Norwegian?
Yeah.
The Trip.
Norwegian. Swedish. Sorry.
Swedish. Okay,
Swedish.
well we were in the ballpark.
Those
But
are all the same country.
Yeah, those are all-
Yeah.
this one is really this one's more of a like a horror or maybe like a dark thriller comedy, just a dark comedy, than it is what I would call a true horror movie, but it has horror elements. And this one is just I described this one to somebody as this is a dark comedy that you should watch with your like wife or your girlfriend as like a date night, because I think it addresses things like difficulties that people experience in relationships, especially long-term relationships. But it also has sweet elements to it that I think make it heartwarming, along with just some like absolutely brutal and crazy stuff that happens along the way. Samara Weaving has become, if she's not my favorite scream queen currently, she's very high up there, like top 3. She's so
100%.
great. Like, I mean, she's such a good actor. She's so funny. She's so able to do the like action and the suspense. Like, I've loved her ever since The Babysitter. She like those movies I think are great. I don't care what anybody says.
Fun.
And I just love her. So I'll see anything she's in. I actually like this more than I liked Ready or Not 2, but I still think Ready or Not 2 is good. And then Jason Segel. While I generally think he's funny, I think he's incredible in this.
Yeah.
And then I always love Timothy Olyphant. Timothy Olyphant can be just about anything and I'll watch it.
Yeah. He's always great.
And
my wife and I watched this movie together and we both really loved it. You know, I mean, it's a great movie. It is unbelievable that Jason Segel would be upset about being married to Samara Weaving.
Right. Yeah, I think he was grin and bear that situation.
Yeah.
The other one that I would probably spring up, since I mentioned Ready or Not 2, is Faces of Death. I actually the Faces of Death remake, I wasn't sure what this was going to be, and ultimately I think it turned out to be a really cool dark serial killer type thriller with some there are elements of this movie that I just love so much, because I love that the lead is not a stereotypically attractive person. I think she is a very attractive woman, even in this movie. It's just that she's not the classic Hollywood look. And I thought that was really neat for a lead in a movie like this. I love a lot of the commentary making about where we're at in our current society with like voyeurism and the things that we watch in movies, the things that we are in, and then like YouTube videos and anything like that. I think Dr. Montgomery is going to have a very promising career playing bad guys. He already has, but he's just doing great. There's some really cool images in this. I think this is the best thing that's ever had the name Faces of Death on it by a long mile.
Yeah, I do wish they hadn't actually used any real footage in this. That upset. I wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah,
it does drag the movie down a little bit, makes it hard to recommend to some people because that's in there still. But I do like the movie. I think it's very good and well recommended if you can just tune those moments out.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick, going back to Over Your Dead Body.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Trip, the original one, a lot of times, an American remake will come out and people say, "Oh, you have to see the original." The remake is a shot-for-shot, beat-for-beat remake of The Trip. So if you've seen Over Your Dead Body, you don't have to go back and watch Trip at all. It's 100% the same film. So, yeah, just throwing that out there.
But
because I have not seen it.
Yeah, so you can skip it.
We'll do that. I guess shot for shot remakes only bother me if it's something like Funny Games where I was like, this is
no. You're not mentioning the most egregious one ever made.
Psycho.
Right.
Literally.
It's not that bad. And Samara Weaving and like you're saying, Jason Segel, they both are infinitely watchable. The original was Naomi Rapace, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and then the husband, not anybody I was familiar with, but yeah, the story is 100% the same. Like they kept everything exactly the same between the two. Cool. So yeah,
nice.
Did you have any honorable mentions there, George?
Yeah, I've got a couple. One, I know you had already mentioned Ready or Not 2. I really like They Will Kill You. I thought that
Oh
was a
yeah.
blast.
Yep.
Just
Oh yeah.
absolute insanity. I would have gone to the theater had I known who the director of that was. I'm not going to try to butcher his name. He is Russian. But he made one of my favorite Russian films, which is Why Don't You Just Die? Which is 100% along the same lines of They Will Kill You. As a matter of fact, there's like a bird cage, like a gold bird cage in one of the rooms in They Will Kill You. And I looked over at my wife and went, that bird cage is from this like disgusting murder scene and Why Don't You Just Die? And I looked it up. It's the same director. I'm like, oh, okay. He's reusing sets. That's awesome. But yeah, definitely check out They Will Kill You. That was a lot of fun. And then other one I think I may have mentioned last episode is Buffet Infinity, which is a newer film. It is all all shot on VHS. It's basically just commercials and like news clips that all come together for this really weird, really funny, really awesome movie. Yeah, if you like stuff like WNUF Halloween Special,
Oh yes.
then this would be right up your alley.
I watch
awesome.
WNUF every year. So
Same. Huge fan, and yeah, if you like WNUF, then you'll go crazy for Buffet Infinity. I'm trying to spread the word on that one as much as I can. But yeah, those would be my two.
Sweet.
Awesome. So, Jeff, you're number one.
Oh, did we want to? Oh yeah, because that's right. Because we're talking about. Okay, yeah. So my number one was Hokum. Hokum was Damian McCarthy, who who we know has done. Pretty much everything he's. So Caveat was decent.
Yeah.
Oddity was incredible. I think Hokum for me is even better than Oddity. I love everything about this movie. I love the setting of the like quaint Irish inn. I love the backstory of a man who's like wrestling with things in his past that are haunting him. Complicated relationship with his father. I love all the little side characters they introduce in this. I really the thing about Damian McCarthy's movies. He introduces these situations that I just don't even know how somebody like thinks up. Like they just seem so like unique and weird. Like when in Hokum, the thing that is so interesting is you have this hotel that has this kind of ghost story about like a bride ghost in this like honeymoon suite that's been locked off. And there's also this like, you know, folklore tale going on about this being that drags people off to the underworld. And then you, in the middle of all this, you have a writer who has kind of gotten himself like lodged in the middle of this whole situation. And he's trapped in a hotel room that he can't get out of except by using a dumbwaiter that goes only to the basement of the building that he's in that is completely walled off. And that he's sort of fashioned this timer so that he can, because there's no button to like raise the dumbwaiter from the basement, so that he can kind of go up and down. And it's just like I'm watching this going, what in the, how did you think of this? Like it's just the most unique thing. And man, like I wouldn't say this movie scared me. It certainly gave me the creeps, and it has some of the best horror atmosphere. I mean, it probably the best horror atmosphere of a movie this year. I think Obsession probably nailed like actual, like, you know, Uncanny Valley stuff a little better. But in terms of like just a aura of tension, I think Hokum's got him. Man, just really love this. Adam Scott's great in this. Everybody in it is great. It's just, and it's one of those, it has like this kind of like folksy Halloween vibes that I think will be just great to visit during the Halloween season. I would be shocked if anything unseats this as number one for me this year. It might happen, but man, just absolutely love this. A killer ending, just killer movie all around.
Yeah, so I had this number 3 on my list. George, what did you have on yours?
Number 2.
Okay, so yeah, number 2. So I love this movie also. When you get to the top 3 of my list for the year, nothing here is bad in my opinion. It's not that number 3 is not like significantly worse than number one at this point. This movie is fantastic. It's great. Adam Scott's awesome in it. At the start of this movie, you fucking hate him.
Yes.
The pumpkin scene, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
The pumpkin and the spoon.
And you start to like, and the director turns that around. It's very rare in a movie that I can go from really hating a fucking character to like actually sympathizing with them and wanting them to make it out. So anytime I'm actually pulling for the characters, I consider a horror movie to have succeeded, because so many horror movies now, I don't care about the characters and I don't want them, and they're completely unlikable or just nothing characters that are just there to be slaughtered. So seeing a movie like this where like I actually legitimately care about the main character's plight and I want him to succeed and I want him to get out and I want him to solve this mystery is always a win in my book, and I think this movie's fantastic.
You know, something that's dawned on me while we're talking about it is I'm now realizing it has some Changeling vibes to it.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, I can
see that.
You know, with this guy like trying to solve this like kind of murder mystery thing. Like, man, I hadn't thought about that until just now, but it does sort of have that going.
Yeah, and I really like the way that Damian McCarthy is setting up a universe between all three movies.
Yeah.
Like Oddity tied to Caveat, and this one ties into Caveat and Oddity in certain ways. Yeah, it's a really cool way that he's making these movies.
Yeah, definitely. And I was also going to bring up that there are two things about this movie I think are so fucking incredible that like there's things you just don't see much anymore. The first is that in the promotional material for this movie, there is a striking image that we all saw. This like kind of weird bunny character,
the jackass thing.
The jackass. Yep.
The with the really like wide open eyes, and I remember seeing that and going, okay, that is spooky. But if that's my monster, I'm going to deal with the whole movie. You've ruined it. And I love that is not what you're dealing with in this movie. Like that, what that is related to is really interesting as part of the story. And it is a creepy image, but it's not a spoiler. It's not something that is going to like, mess the movie up for you if you haven't seen it. And
no, it doesn't ruin anything by seeing it at all.
No. And that's what I look, man. I feel like the trailer for this is so good because it gets you to where you want to see the movie, but it doesn't really give anything away.
Exactly. I can't wait for October to revisit this one.
Right. And then the other thing that it does that I really like is something that it subverted my expectations. In the beginning of this movie, we are treated to Adam Scott sitting in his like kind of like brutalist style apartment, writing a story on his laptop. And you get this, he's got like this light and you can kind of see a like shadowy figure in the distance. Very, every horror movie you've ever seen, right? Just like, ghost kind of standing outside of the light and, and then he moves the light and you're like, oh, the ghost is going to be behind him when he moves it. And I think that he purposefully put that in the beginning of the movie so that you would think it was going to be that kind of movie where, you're going to be expecting like those kind of normal, like jump scare moments. And then he does not do that again. Like the rest of the movie is all just unique things I haven't seen before. So I think that's another thing I think is really cool is how he plays with your expectations based on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I dig it for sure. Good one. All right. George, what was your number one?
My number
I guess you already said.
Yep, I did. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, my number one was Obsession. That was it's my favorite horror film that I've seen this year. I feel like Curry Barker knocked it out of the park for being his very first film. It is incredible what he was able to pull off. For like under $1 million, like $750,000. He made a feature that was better than anything else I've seen in the theater this year for me. India, that's her name, right? The main actress.
Mm-hmm.
Insane how good of a performance she puts in. Like if they hadn't already cast Margaret Qualley for the remake of Possession, then this girl should have gotten it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just such a good performance. Being able to split between like this tormented person and then this, love obsessed girl, like on the fly. It's unreal, the performance that she put in.
Yeah, there's no doubt to me right now. This is performance of the year so far.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I would be shocked if there wasn't some awards attention for her performance coming later this year. But yeah, I loved Obsession. I can't wait till it comes out on video on demand because I'm dying to see it again. I had a blast with it, even though it is not really a fun movie. There's some fun moments. There's some laugh out loud moments.
Oh yeah.
Especially one.
There are
towards the
moments
end
in
for
this
me.
movie
Yeah.
that I laughed in the theater and no one else laughed, and I was like,
Yes!
"Oh shit, that feels weird."
Exactly. Yeah. The humor is super dark. So I mean, the entire movie is the whole premise.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one that has gotten a little bit misunderstood. I know we probably talked about this before, but I have known people to go, "Oh, I don't like the main character." That's the point. He's terrible. He's the bad guy. You shouldn't like him.
Yeah,
But,
you're not supposed
yeah.
to like. You're not supposed to like him, and because
Yeah.
I felt like whether you like these characters or not, in this movie in particular, is kind of irrelevant to the plot. Like,
To the plot. Yeah.
you don't have to like Bear, and you don't have to like what's her name, the character that's
The
specific.
girl he's obsessed with. Yeah, Nikki.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Freaky
You don't have to
Nikki.
like Nikki. I mean, when I was watching this, I think the only character I really liked at the end of the movie was Sarah. Was the only person that I was like, wow, just an
Yeah.
absolute. She was just a victim in this, like really,
Yeah.
who totally didn't do anything wrong except hanging out with some people who were kind of shitty. Um, so I don't think you have to like Bear. I don't think you have to like Nikki. I don't think you have to like Ian or any of the characters in this movie to get the story and enjoy it here. And it
I
is just a
also
fantastic movie.
I think
Yeah.
it's interesting, and I understand, and I'm guilty of this. I'm definitely guilty of using this language, but it's something I'm trying to correct. I think what people mean when they're saying they don't like characters in a movie, I think what they're actually saying is that they're not interested in what's happening to them. Because,
I can
like,
see
you know,
that. Yeah.
like there are tons of things I think with characters where people don't like the character, but they're interested in what happens to them. And you know, I think Obsession does a great job with this. And one of the things I like is that Bear, for one, I do think the internet is a little extra harsh on this character. I don't say I don't think he's a good dude. I don't think he's making good choices, but I don't think he's like this abysmal piece of shit either. I think he's just a really cowardly guy who made some incredibly bad choices and then continues to make those bad choices. But and so there are times I felt sorry for him. I wouldn't say I felt sorry for him and like, you know, I want a good thing to happen for him, but I'm like, man, this situation is really, really bad. And I also think it's really another magical thing this movie does is it does sort of make you question pretty much everybody in it, except for like, yeah, I think you're right, Jeremy, except for Sarah. I think everybody else you can kind of go, because when you're first introduced to Nikki, they kind of make her out to be this very sweet, like, oh, look, she's taking money and giving it to a homeless guy, and she's really friendly to Bear, who, you know, obviously has a crush on her, and she's just so great. And then I think it slowly reveals that maybe she wasn't quite who you thought she was either. You know, like the way that she talked about like Bear behind his back, the way that she was sleeping with his friend behind his back, and everybody's lying about it and all this other stuff. I think there's just all these things that add up to go, well, she's an actual complicated person like all humans. And I think that's cool. But there's a lot of genius stuff going on in this movie, and I think that it's interesting that people get so polarized on some of it. But yeah, really great.
And I am glad that Curry Barker made this kind of outside of the movie system or studio system, because he goes hard in this movie. Like, it goes a lot further than I thought it would have. One particular scene involving a brick for sure. Floored me.
Scene's brutal as hell.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't expect them to have that in them, but fantastic.
There's like scenes in this too that I think you're right. I don't think you would get if you had gone through like a traditional studio, because I don't think the studio would have got some of the humor in this.
Oh,
and how it worked. Like probably one of the funniest things I've seen in the theater this year, period, is the scene where he calls the hotline on the box to try to get help with his wish.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's just so funny and dark in such a great way. And then, you know, another thing I think is really cool movie too is I watch a lot of YouTube horror content, like I'm sure we are. And there was a huge movement for this like Uncanny Valley stuff probably a couple of years ago. It would be all these people doing these like makeup effects to make their like them look more plastic or their eyes like unblinking or too big and all this. And like some of that stuff was decent, but I always felt it was kind of cheesy. And Obsession uses that concept and fucking nails it. Like just nails the really fucked up nature of like how someone could look just a little bit off in the dark, where their eyes are just a little too big, or the mouth is a little too wide, or like. And I remember there's a scene in Obsession I think is maybe one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a movie. I wouldn't say I was scared watching it, but the concept. If I woke up and my girlfriend was like standing in the dark in the corner of the room where I couldn't see her, like watching me and talking to me, I would shit myself. Like it was absolutely terrifying.
Like demanding, go back to sleep. I want to watch you sleep. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I have seen some takeaways, I guess, from this movie from like the press that do worry me though, because of like there's been a lot of talk about this movie's budget. That it was amazing they did something for $750,000. And there was an article like I saw earlier today from I can't remember if it was like Hollywood Reporter or one of those. It was a big press junk like outlet. And their headline for their article was Hollywood can learn from Obsession how to make movies with a low budget by not using unions. And I was like, oh, fucking great.
Oh, no.
We're taking the absolute worst possible.
Yeah, that's a bad take.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, this is not where we should go from this. From okay, he did make something independent for $750,000. That doesn't mean like the takeaway there should be every movie should cost $750,000. I was like, damn, I hate this. This is not where I wanted to see this go. And I doubt anybody involved in this movie wanted to see that path go that way. No. When they were making it for $750,000, because I don't think the goal should be drive down people's wages that are in Hollywood.
Agreed.
I mean, that's just the way Hollywood, or the way that big news outlets are, just like stuff like that. Wall Street Journal article talking about Gen Z splurging on rotisserie chickens and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
What
it's
the
fuck?
It's
the same thing. It's like, holy shit, y'all, out of touch.
Goddamn,
it's impressive.
Chickens.
It's impressive. Curry Barker made a movie for $750,000. We all agree to that premise.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that we then say we need to start taking this exact economic model and applying it to everything in order to make movies cheaper. It's like terrible idea. So just that's my take on that one.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree, wow. Like, I mean, just for somebody who I'd never seen her, I don't know if she did anything before this, but this is the first thing I saw her in, and I mean, she's going to be a star. I mean,
she's going to be in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to have offers out there now for sure after this.
And I have to hand it to Michael Johnston, because a lot of people shit on the character Bear, but what they're not realizing is that's because the guy did such a great job of making be a pathetic loser.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole the kid that played Joffrey was so good at being an asshole, so good at acting. He did his job so well it killed his career. It's like, damn, man, that sucks. Like the guy that played Bear also is doing such a good job at playing that sniveling, cowardly shithead that he should be commended for that. He did a great job.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, great choice.
Yeah, great choice. Love this movie. And for my number one, I went with 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. When I first saw this movie, I liked it a lot. I don't think it was my number one movie the first time I saw it, but last week I've revisited a lot of movies. I rewatched both of the 28 Years Later movies. I rewatched The Mummy and a few others to try to see where they would land on this list if I thought about it hard. And 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, I think, is currently my movie of the year. I think this movie is beautifully shot. Nia DaCosta did such a great job with this. I think it's actually better than Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I agree. Yeah,
I think this is a much better movie. Ralph Fiennes is fucking fantastic in this as Dr. Kelson. His interaction with Samson, this like zombie that he starts to like see humanity in again and believe he can cure, really did remind me of Frankenstein and Day of the Dead a lot at first, like a more stable version of Frankenstein, a more like reasonable person than Frankenstein, I guess, in a certain way. And I can see that parallel there, and I like the Dead series, so seeing that kind of same concept of like the zombies progressing and being able to learn was awesome to me. And then there's the whole Jimmy Savile cult thing that's so weird, where they dress like Jimmy Savile,
yeah,
and wear like tracksuits like him and bleach blonde wigs, and all call themselves Jimmy. Just weird as hell and creepy. And the guy that plays Sir Lord Jimmy, the main character there, is like, he does such a good job at being like this cultish piece of shit
from Sinners, right?
Sinners,
Jack O'Connell.
Yeah, Jack O'Connell does such a great job there. The character is despicable. You hate him. He's gross, and you're like, you just want to see him get his comeuppance throughout the movie. And then there's the scene towards the end. This just like possibly the coolest fucking scene ever, with Ralph Fiennes playing Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. Good. Like the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen. So yeah, just overall, like start to finish, I love this movie. I think it's awesome. It has so much going for it, and it's a shame that once again, like other movies, it didn't make its money back at the box office that it deserved, and that's damn sad, because it deserves so much better. And once again, this is probably a situation where bad marketing fucked this.
Yeah, I didn't hear much about this one when it came out earlier this year, but yeah, I watched it a few months ago and I was head over heels for it. I think I had it as number 3 on my list. Like you were saying, anything 3 and above, it may as well be a tie across the board. But no, I had a lot of fun with this one, and the end of this one got me super excited about what a third film would be.
And they are filming the third one apparently now.
Yeah, I saw that.
It is happening. So
it's happening. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, because to come back, I mean, it's going to come full circle back to 28 weeks later. So
yeah,
yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
or 28 days later, not 28 weeks. Yeah.
Alfie Williams, the kid that plays Spike, he played Spike in 28 years later. If anybody watched that one, he reprises his role as Spike in this one, continuing that character's journey. With picking up right where the last one ended, and he's also great in this. I think he plays such a good role as a scared kid. He's a kid who's out here in this world dealing with these like psychotic cult leaders, and Dr. Kelson's also like a strange person who's out here. It's just he's out here in this world of weird people trying to exist and find a place. And he meets up with one other person in this cult who's kind of sympathetic to that, and it goes from there. And it's very good. I loved it.
Yeah, kind of what I was thinking when I saw this one is that I felt like 28 years later was a lot of stuff I had already seen in other movies, and I didn't think it was bad, but it just really knocked my socks off. Yeah. What I liked about this one is actually all the stuff I felt like I hadn't really seen before, like the Jimmy cult thing was interesting, but it was actually probably the least interesting part for me. I was a lot more drawn into Dr. Kelson, like what was going on with him, and the whole, like you said, that insane scene where he does the dance, whatever, I don't know what you call it, whatever it is he's doing, the Iron Maiden song. All very, very cool. His character is like just so unique, and like you're both a little scared of him and feel really sorry for him, and I think like that's just a testament to both Fiennes' acting and the writing for this. And Nia DaCosta, man, like her career just seems to be like she's going to do nothing but great stuff.
I didn't, for sure.
Agreed.
I didn't think that it was possible to turn in a Candyman sequel that would be so damn good. Or I should remake sequel. It is a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Wow, like that I admittedly I like that a lot more than I like this, but I did like 28 Years Later Bone Temple. I do think it's probably the best 28 Days Later other than the first one, and
for sure.
Agreed. Yeah. And it is funny about the Jimmy Savile cult because you have to think like when everything would have gone down, Jimmy Savile would have still been respected at the
Yeah.
time
Right.
of like the rage virus, right? So it makes sense that these kids would have looked up to him like because he hosted what Top of the Pops over in
Top
the
of the
UK, which was
Pops,
huge,
yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it wasn't until years later that we actually found out who Jimmy Savile really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it is funny seeing
it's
these
really
people
interesting.
like dressing like a monster.
Uh-huh.
And they are,
Exactly.
like,
That they didn't
they're
realize
actually-
was a monster.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just it's an awesome movie. I don't know if this one was shot in the same way as the previous one. I don't think it was. Because 28 years later was shot on iPhones. I don't think this one was shot in the same way. This one seems like it was shot on just standard film or standard cameras, not film. But I think it's just super cool. The set design here is all awesome. The Bone Temple itself is just like
It's
such
so
a cool, such a cool element of the movie. When you see it, it's like a striking imagery. It looks
Mhm.
great, and with Ralph Fiennes like crazy ass character like jumping around and dancing around it and like fire everywhere. It's just some of the coolest shit ever put to film, I think. The character of Samson has such a cool character arc, I think. Also, it does take the concept of Bub from Day of the Dead, I think, and like takes that one step further because it is very much that same concept. Like if you told me nobody that wrote this movie ever saw Day of the Dead, I'd call you a fucking liar. There's no way they didn't. But I love that. I love that it has that same ideas and it's going with that and continuing that legacy of that same kind of like zombies becoming developing as the disease progresses. So this is great. I loved it. It's my number one of the year. And I would recommend it to anybody. And really anything on any of our lists. I think all these movies are great and you should watch them.
Agreed.
So normally when we're doing these lists or when we're doing these episodes, we do 3 recommendations at the end of each episode. This week we're going to do something a little different because we don't have a central theme here to base those recommendations on. So we're each just going to give our 3 most anticipated films for the rest of the year. That way, and then at the end of the year, we can come back and we can look at this and say, what was our top 5 midway through the year and what was our 3 most recommended? And how does that line up? Do these end up on our list at the end of the year? Do the 3 we're most excited about, are they on our top 10? If there aren't, I don't know, you're out. You're in trouble. You lose points. F minus. So, as for, well, I'll go ahead and start with my 3 most anticipated here. At my 3rd most anticipated, I had Buddy. This is a movie that when I first saw a trailer for it, I was like, oh boy, we're going to get another of these kind of Five Nights at Freddy's, Willy's Wonderland, another one of these that I don't really, that doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not really super interested in it. It's not something I care about. And then somebody told me this was written and directed by Casper Kelly.
Legend.
Casper Kelly, if you're not familiar, was the writer of Too Many Cooks, a legendary TV short. He was also the writer of the Cheddar Goblin sequence in Mandy.
Didn't he do the Yule Log movies?
Yeah,
he did, and he did the Fun Size segment in VHS Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm way more interested now. And then the cast, when I saw the cast, I was like, okay, it's got Patton Oswalt, it's got Keegan Michael Key, it's got a lot of Topher Grace is in here, a lot of people that I was just like, okay, I'm in. I'm 100% in on this movie. I want to see it.
Oh,
so,
George is gonna love this. Clint Howard.
Yep,
yeah.
Clint Howard.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this one instantly had my attention. I was like, okay, I'm in on this. I want to see it now. This is got to be just so far out there. So this comes out, I think right now it's August. It's slated for release. I'll be checking this out for sure and talking about it on the podcast when it does drop.
Oh, it has Kristen Milioti in it too. From the Penguin Show. Nice.
Oh yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, Casper Kelly. When I think about Adult Swim, I think about Casper Kelly. Like
Yeah.
they go hand in hand for me. The dude is super creative. Always has really funny, really weird ideas. I'm sure did you guys ever watch Your Pretty Faces Going to Hell?
Mm-mm.
I didn't watch
Oh,
that
if you haven't
one.
watched that, oh man, yeah, definitely check that out. There's a bunch of seasons, super fun, and he was the creative director behind that one.
Yeah, I mean, he did some Harvey Birdman, some other stuff that was really great.
Yeah.
So, great, awesome stuff. I mean, people that are really old, like he wrote, Cat Dog and stuff like that back in the day. So,
I
a
don't
lot
like
of cool
you
stuff.
referring to that as people who are really old.
I mean, I think at this point, the shoe fits. So that's my that's my third most anticipated movie of the year. My second, I had Resident Evil by Zach Krieger on here.
Mhm.
Anything Zach Krieger does at this point, I'm watching. There's really, he's done no wrong so far. So as long if he announces a project, I'm in 100%. And I love the Resident Evil games already. I don't expect this to be the games. I'm not that kind of movie watcher. So the trailer looked cool. I want to see his take on this concept. So, Weapons, Barbarian, both fantastic so far. He's on a fantastic run.
I wasn't super excited about this, even though I did Barbarian and Weapons, and of course, Vice Get You Down. But I wasn't super excited about this until I saw the trailer. The trailer actually sold me.
Yeah, the trailer looks very cool. And like I said, I'm actually glad that he's come out there and said already that he's telling a different story than games. That it's in the same universe, but this is his own story, and that has its own ideas behind it. I'm like, that's good because I already played those games. I don't need those same stories again.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be upset that he's not doing a straightforward Resident Evil story that we've already seen in the games before, but I'm excited to see his take on it too. That's one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most this year as well.
Yeah. And my number one this year I'm looking forward to is Godzilla Minus Zero. Godzilla Minus One was probably my favorite movie the year it came out. I love Godzilla, everything to do with it. I'm going to see Godzilla versus Biollante in theater later this month. There's Godzilla's stuff all over my room. I absolutely adore Godzilla, and I think Godzilla Minus One was one of the coolest Godzilla movies ever. It hinted at Biollante kind of in the plot of it, and Biollante is my favorite Godzilla villain ever. So, or I guess kaiju ever. So, if we get Biollante, I'll be fucking thrilled. If we don't, I'll also be thrilled because I just love Godzilla movies. So this is my most anticipated by a long shot. I'll be there in IMAX to see this for sure.
I absolutely lost my shit for Godzilla Minus One. Didn't expect much out of it when it came out. Talked my wife into going to our first 4DX movie to go see it. Absolutely incredible. And then we went and saw it again the next weekend. Like,
hell yes.
we don't do multiple viewings in the theater most of the time, but that movie is a masterpiece.
It is.
So I'm really, really, really excited to see what the sequel is going to be like.
Yeah, Godzilla Minus Zero. I mean, if it's anything near as good as the first one, it'll probably be my movie of the year this year too. So
same.
We'll see where this lands. But right now, I'm ridiculously excited for it.
Yeah, I'm even the naysayer because I'm definitely not a Godzilla guy, and I'm not a kaiju guy really at all. But I like Godzilla Minus One. I thought it was very good. I thought Godzilla looked really, really cool. Yeah. And it somehow they hit like it looks like a classic Godzilla, but also updated in a good way. And this is people raved about Shin Godzilla, and I thought it was horrible. I really did not like it at all.
You don't like googly-eyed Godzilla?
I do.
But I also love Shin Godzilla. So
I do.
Just to be clear.
I love Godzilla. I'm not a big Shin Godzilla fan. It was fine, but
it's one of the, and it's one of those things I take on to me. It's me. It's just something it's not a thing I'm into. But yeah, Godzilla Minus One really cool. So I am looking forward to this one too.
Yeah, I don't like Shin Godzilla as much as I like Godzilla Minus One. To be clear, I like Shin Godzilla. It's not Minus One good, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And that's my 3 most anticipated for the year. We'll see how those land on my top 10 at the end. Jeff, what do you have?
All right. I think I share one with George we can talk about together. But probably the thing coming up most the soonest, I should say, is Evil Dead Burn, which comes out July 10th, directed by Sebastian Vanacek, who did Infested. Was that last year, I think? I believe it was. Kind of creepy French spider movie.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
This one, this one's interesting because when I heard about it, I was definitely on board. So far, I think Evil Dead's a series that hasn't really had a bad entry. So I think anytime I hear about more stuff, I'm always interested to see what it's going to be. I will say the trailers on this one haven't completely sold me, but I'm hoping that's just because they're holding a lot of stuff back from the trailer, so you'll be surprised. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It's one I want to see. I'm always going to be on for more Evil Dead. Then the next thing I actually have on my list is probably the movie I'm looking forward to most for the rest of the year that I can think of at the moment. And that is Onslaught, coming out September 4th by Adam Wingard. Yeah. It's been so long since we've seen an Adam Wingard movie that wasn't a huge studio-driven franchise thing, as he did the last couple of King Kong versus Godzilla movies, and those were fun. I'm definitely not poo-pooing those at all. It's just that it will be cool to see him getting back to his roots. It's like it's written by Simon Barrett. Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, whenever they team up, they make great stuff like You're Next. I think this one looks kind of like wish fulfillment, because I will say it has the Guest vibes. I think we're all big fans of the Guest. But this looks like the Guest if you cranked it to 11 and put several more $1 million into it. I'm really digging the lone badass sniper lady versus super soldiers thing that's going on here. So this looks really, really cool. I can't wait to see this one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I feel like Wingard worships at the altar of John Carpenter sometimes. The Guest.
Like everybody.
I get those vibes from this one for sure. It feels like a John Carpenter film, which I'm down for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would check this one out in theaters for sure as well. This movie looked great. The previews have all looked cool so far. It looks like the kind of action movie that I want to see, because I don't love the I don't love the motion blur fast. You can't tell what's going on in action movies. This looks like what I actually want out of an action movie. So
right, I can get on board with it. And then the last one I'm cheating a little bit. It's actually not a movie, but I'm really, really interested to see what Peacock does with Crystal Lake, the Friday the 13th prequel series. It premieres October 15th. A24 produced it. I think this is A24 has been doing this kind of new push to sort of get some, I guess, more like what I would call commercially viable stuff going, because for the longest time they've just been kind of an art house production company, and I guess they need to pay some bills. So they're starting to crank out some stuff that's not like that. But yeah, Crystal Lake, I mean, I always thought the concept of this is weird. I still think it's a little weird. I don't know that we need a Jason prequel series, but I think that's also why I'm very interested in it, is like, what is this going to be? Like, what exactly are we going to have here? And I think I was probably sold even more when we found out that Pam Voorhees was going to be played by
Linda Cardellini.
Linda Cardellini, because Linda Cardellini is awesome and incredibly hot. So I really want to see her take Betsy Palmer was cool and all, but not exactly Linda Cardellini. It'll be cool.
We're gonna have Fountains of Wayne make a song about Jason's mom.
There you go. So yeah, those are my three things: Evil Dead Burn, Onslaught, and Crystal Lake.
Awesome. So George, what you got on your list?
Yeah, my three. I do have one repeat. I think Jeff thought I was going to have two repeats, but I changed it up on you guys.
Oh.
Number one, Resident Evil. Really looking forward to it. Zach Kreger has not done anything bad so far, and I have a feeling that he's not going to with this one. After seeing the end of Weapons, the scene with the children in the chase, I watched that and went, "Yep, he's ready for Resident Evil. this feels like a zombie scene. I'm down for this.
Yeah, the story's just down at this point.
Yeah, exactly. No, I can't wait. It has to be better than the Anderson film.
I mean,
Anyway.
anything.
Yeah, exactly. Next one would be Clayface, the new DC horror comic film that's coming out. Really curious about this one since Mike Flanagan, I guess, either took a pass at the script or helped write the script. I'm not quite sure what his involvement on the script was, but I really like the director's other movies. This one's coming from James Watkins. He did Eden Lake and Woman in Black. I never got around to his remake of Speak No Evil, but I really like the original. So
it's good. It's actually good. Yeah, and it differs from the original, which I think makes some things more interesting. Or I shouldn't say more interesting, but it makes a watch of it more interesting because it's not exactly the same thing.
I'll definitely check it out. I think I know they changed the ending for it from the original.
Yeah.
The original one is that's a downer movie.
It's a bleak movie.
Good. Yeah. But yeah, I got I think we talked about this before, but I got Dark Man vibes from the trailer, which I mean, you're speaking my language. So we'll see how that one is. Hopefully it turns out pretty well. And then I'm going to cheat with my third one as well, because it's a movie that I watched last year, but doesn't technically come out theatrically until this year. It Ends. I don't know if either of you have seen that. I know it got some like festival play, and then I think somebody picked it up for distribution, but then said they weren't going to release it for some reason. People kind of freaked out over that because it's a damn good movie. They gave it a brief, like weekend long video on demand release last year, and now it's coming to theaters, I think in August of this year. But it's basically a group of college age kids. They just graduated from college. They're helping one of their friends move. They're in his Jeep, and they take a back road and then get stuck on that back road. And this is a back road that never ends. I mean, they're there for years in this car trying to find the exit to the woods. It is so good. It is one of those like bottle movies, like a bottle episode where you're in the car with them the entire time as they try to figure out what's going on. There are things in the woods that may be human that are completely insane and out to kill them. So they can't stop the car at any point. The car never uses any gas. It's just very surreal, very much liminal horror, and it is fantastic. I think once it hits the theater and people actually see it, a lot of people are going to be really, really, really into this one. So, yeah, that's a recommendation, and I'll probably go see it in the theater anyway when it comes out because I loved it. So,
nice.
There you go.
Oh, this kind of, when you're talking about it, it kind of brought up memories of that movie Dead End from early aughts.
I love Dead End. That one's super fun. I will say the ending of Dead End is not the ending of It Ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I was afraid it was going to go that route, and I was going to be pissed if it did. And luckily, it did not.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, Ron. Coughing there for a second.
That's okay.
So that's our top 3 most anticipated for the year. Like I said, at the end of the year, we're going to come back. We're going to do a top 10, either somewhere near the end of December or early January. We'll have those lists out. We'll do an episode on them, and we'll come back and compare then and see exactly how these land and if they turn out to be as good as we thought, or if some of these maybe are a bust. Next week, do we have a topic we wanted to do next week?
I don't think it's settled. I know we'll definitely talk out in summer movie as an opener because it doesn't look like there's a whole lot new is going to hit in the between now and then. But I'm sure we'll have something good. We'll definitely have another episode.
Yeah, we'll have a summer horror movie for sure, and if nothing else, we always have Tales from the Crypt to continue. So
we
can look forward to that if nothing interesting pops up before next week.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll see you next week, and good day.